Because it's the preview work in progress. We're figuring our shit out version.
Yes, episode point 5.
No, not even 0.5. It's like
Point
0.4.
0.4. The
0.4.
test,
I'm not
the
prepared
test
at all.
show. It's okay.
I don't have notes.
It's okay. We don't need notes.
I mean, I've got notes. I've got, musical notes right here.
But that's the beauty of this podcast, is
It's spontaneous and off the cuff. Exactly.
We take enough time to decide that we want to have topics, and we pick some topics, but we don't think about those topics until we talk about those
talk
topics.
time. Yeah.
That way we don't have to do any work. Except for like 2 minutes one day.
Oh yeah, plug the microphone in. That's the work.
Yes. Well, I mean, we have a list of topics.
I don't have it.
Do you want it?
I mean, or you could just be the moderator and I'll go with it.
That works.
Which means you could totally throw me off. You could make it today's discussion topic is topiary.
But we talked about what to talk about.
Well, I know. I'm just giving you shit. Random thing. I love my new phone that I got about a week ago. Hold on. When was the 30th? Yeah, about a week ago yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I love it so very much.
What is it?
It's a Moto X. So it is Android. Sorry, young Mr. iPhone.
That's fine. It is a pretty nice phone.
I absolutely love it because it's all my favorite colors and stuff. So there's like dark blue and blue on it, which is awesome. The other cool stuff though is like the active display thing, where it just does notifications on screen instead of doing lights and stuff like other Android phones do.
That's nice.
And then if I just, instead of saying, oh, you've got a text message, and then you got to unlock the whole thing to read your text message, you can just press on that icon and it will show you the text message.
You can't respond from there though, right?
No, I mean, from there you can swipe up, which will allow you to unlock your phone and respond like normal.
Right.
You can swipe down to unlock and then just unlock your phone, or sideways to just get rid of the notification.
Sure. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. And also, like, it knows when you pick it up.
So you could just answer the phone.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know about answering phones, but like, for example, if it's just sitting on my desk and I want to see, the time or messages or whatever, I could just pick it up and it's like, oh, you picked up, and the screen lights up with just that information. It looks actually kind of like, it went away. Hold on a second here.
That's magic.
Yeah, but it just knows when I pick it up. It looks like that.
Oh,
and where that little lock icon would be like my text messaging icon, and that's where I tap and move around. So that's like cool. If you wanted to send me a text message, I could show you it, but there's not really a point there.
Okay.
And also it does really cool voice stuff. So I could just tell it to give you a call without even having to pick it up and unlock it. I could just say the magic keyword, which is okay, Google now, call young Riley, and it'll do that. I don't even have to be holding it. I could be on the other side of the room.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and the final awesome thing about it is I have another thing turned on, so it knows when I'm driving.
Oh, really?
And it's based on like GPS and stuff like that, right? And when I'm driving, it'll ask me if I want it to read my text messages that come in to me. So if I'm driving down the road and you send me a message, I could say, listen, and it'll read your text message to me.
That is pretty neat.
And I can tell you, and then I can tell it to send hey, I'm driving, I'll get to you later. Or I could, pull over to the side of the road and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's ridiculously awesome.
Now, where did you buy this?
I actually got it off of Motorola's website because that's where you go to do the custom designs and stuff.
Sure, but I was in Best Buy the other day. They had all the different.
They show you there, but to actually do the design, they just have them there to show them to you.
Oh, okay. So then you have to actually go.
You go to the website. You go to the website and design it, and then it will ship. They say guaranteed. The normal times, like non-holiday times,
right?
4 days from when you order it to when it's in your house, free shipping.
Wow. That's pretty fast.
And that's pretty fast. And I knew it was going to be slower because of the holiday season.
Right.
Because I did it right around Christmas time, right? And they're like 8 days. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? It actually showed up in about 3 business days.
That's pretty quick. That's faster than most Amazon
from when I clicked send to when it was in my hands.
Wow.
Not like 3 days of shipping.
So like,
because I did the order on
a
order on a Friday. I got a notification that they'd started building it later that night. Saturday they shipped it, and it was in my hands on Monday.
Well, that's pretty cool of Motorola.
Yeah,
to get it right.
They were doing a sweet deal at the time because I was due for an upgrade anyway. Where I could get it upgrade $50. So I did that. So that was cool. So yeah, that's my new phone. And I actually, every time I get a new phone, I'm always like, oh, this phone's going to last me for years. I don't need to do upgrades. And then, 2 years later, I'm just like, time to get a new phone. But I honestly do think this phone could last me like 3 or 4 years.
Right, but
that's how awesome it is.
What was your last phone? Lightning or something?
It was there. I had a Thunderbolt, but then I had the Galaxy Nexus before then, or after that, which was
right.
So, no, I'm really loving this phone. Anyway,
it's
got that.
Go ahead. As far as Android phones go, Motorola is
spiffy.
Pretty good. It's pretty.
Well,
they've learned from their mistakes.
Exactly. I mean, and this is the size of the phone. That's the size of the screen.
Yeah, it's
like almost all screen. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and as far as like hand size, it's just bigger than my iPhone. It's not. Yeah. It's about the same height, but just wider.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
It's the screen size is 4.7 inch screen, so it's actually
so it's just not a whole lot bigger than this.
Yeah, it's really cool actually. Anyway, but I'm loving this one. Oh.
Yeah, I'm making faces.
Oh, googly face. I've got my music notes.
Yeah, yours is way cooler than mine.
Yeah, I deal with it by being awesome. Anyway, now that we can pretend we're sponsored by Motorola is out of the way.
No, that's what we got to do is talk about Motorola every time. So they like
every time
they listen and they'll be like, "Hey, those guys are always talking about that one phone we got."
Yeah.
Let's get them to talk about other phones, and we'll give them phones.
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever want to play around with the Motorola, you don't have to you can go right up to the checkout point. It's really cool because there's actually settings where you can import all of the settings from your old phone.
Really?
Like all my old Wi-Fi passwords, my music, my texts, my call history, they have a way of moving them over, even for like iPhones, I guess too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's way cool.
Yeah. Like I told it install with this wallpaper. But then when I got it and turned it on for the first time, it was actually the exact same wallpaper that I had on my old phone.
That's cool, but it's a little creepy. It's
a little creepy, isn't it?
You're going to set it up exactly the same way. It doesn't have to be exact.
No, I know. But it was because I ticked a box saying import all my Google settings or whatever. And that's where it pulled it from.
Yeah. So it's not Motorola's fault. It's Google's fault.
It was Google's fault. Well, Google owns Motorola now.
Well, Google owns you. Google owns everybody.
They own you, and you're using an iPhone.
They totally own me. I've got Google Plus. I've got 2 YouTube accounts. I've got Gmail. I've got 2.
Yeah.
I'm Google.
They own. You're Google.
If I could work for Google, I'd love to work for Google.
Those guys our friend Kyle.
Does he work for Google now?
He did for a while. I don't know if he still does.
Man, Google. I've seen pictures of their offices. They're very nice.
He was not at the offices.
Well,
he's in Tri-Cities. He works up.
No, then he never.
So it's not as cool.
He never really worked for Google.
It's his contract work.
Oh well, I work for YouTube. That'd be way more fun.
Yes, it would. We should tell him to get a job at YouTube.
Just pay me to watch videos all day.
Yes.
Just pay me to go through and be the copyright instead of a.
Oh yeah, instead of an algorithm or whatever.
Software. They can just pay me to watch videos to look for copyright.
Yeah, make sure they're not like a person that's making money, and then they can use the music. Okay, right. But otherwise, screw them.
No. Sony Entertainment can hire me to look through YouTube for copyright claims.
There's actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I don't know if this is true, but there's a story that says Nintendo has either a department or a couple people whose only job is to go onto the internet and find porn that's based off of Mario and any other properties, and then send cease and desist letters. That's their only job.
But you get so desensitized to naked people because there's got to be a lot of Mario porn.
I would imagine. Or Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's got such a catalog of games. I bet you that there's a porn. Or
it's
if
the
there's
internet.
Not
there is
yet,
porn.
Well,
it's
I
Rule
bet you
34.
there's at least a porn for
in production.
Yeah, for every single one of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Metroid.
Yeah,
Especially since they made Metroid a woman.
That's true. That's true. What about I can't imagine what the Castlevania porn would be like.
Oh God.
Lots of whips and S&M, I'd imagine.
Ugh. Just kind of
so basically it's a 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, kind of. But apparently, I don't know if that's true, but that's like the rumor around the video game industry is that Nintendo employs people that's all they do.
Well, Japanese. I guess they're a Japanese company, right?
Japan. Do you actually know what Nintendo, their first business was?
I feel like I've heard it before.
They made playing cards.
Playing cards.
Like decks of cards, like, you know, a normal deck of cards.
Like bicycle cards.
Yeah.
Like the cards they use in Vegas for poker.
Yeah.
That's a horrible thing to do for a living. Why? Yeah, how do you get from, we made these so people could play poker and crazy eights, to video games, or not even just video games, like video games geared towards families and children?
Do you want to know the answer? Japan.
Yes. Japan. That's that just the
that's
answer?
Your answer. That's your answer.
Everything that happens in Japan.
Well, in Nintendo.
Well,
because they're a Japanese company and they do just weird stuff half the time.
That's true. Well, I mean, have you seen their commercials?
I try not to watch.
Wow.
I've seen a couple though. I mean, you know, George Clooney to sell whiskey and stuff like that. Yeah, Harrison Ford playing Uncharted 2.
The best,
because it's kind of like an Indiana Jones game.
You don't see a whole lot of Japanese people.
They're
so clean. Yes, they're very clean cut.
That's true.
And the ones that do have beards have magnificently, like, wise man flowy beards, like down trimmed to
up.
knees. I mean, you only see the people with beards in like samurai movies or something that has to do with something traditional, but it's never the young people. They never have.
No.
Or even the like businessmen. You never see a businessman with a beard or even any facial hair.
Well, I mean, the guy who used to own Nintendo? God, I bring it back to Nintendo. Or maybe the guy who makes like the Metal Gear Solid games has like this immaculately trimmed beard. It's like magnificent looking. But I mean, it's not like the log wise man cliche stereotypical beard. It's like a beard, but it's just like perfectly trimmed. It's just like, what? It just seems so weird. Maybe I think it might be the guy who makes the Metal Gear Solid games, but I'm not sure.
Oh well, I guess there are those people. There are those guys too that have like the Japanese mustache.
Oh yeah,
you know that it's just like, you know what I'm talking about? It's the Japanese mustache. It's not connected in the middle. It's just two pieces. Like, Japanese. Yes.
Because that's what I grow.
But it stops.
Oh yeah. Those ones. Yeah.
And they're always very well kept.
Yeah.
Even the long ones.
Yeah, it's weird.
I can't grow facial hair. Like,
because you're a child?
I can grow facial hair. I do have to shave, but I can't grow a manly beard.
Well, apparently neither can I, or so I've been told.
Well, and I'm not allowed to grow a beard.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
So I've wanted to try. My job doesn't have a problem with it. My boss doesn't have a problem with it. But
Stephanie does.
So
yeah, well, when you get married, guess what you can do?
still be whipped to hell. That's what I can do.
No.
She'll be like, "We're married now. Now I own you. Now you can't. You definitely can't do that."
No. Once you're married, you could say, honey, can we just try this and see what happens? Yeah, it's probably going to end horribly, but if it doesn't, it could be amazing.
Well, and she becomes horribly racist when I try to grow my facial hair. She'll say, "You look like a dirty Mexican." With my mustache, and that's horrible. It's horrible.
That's pretty bad.
But it's true.
It's true.
I get that weird, like, I'm not, no part of me is from Mexico.
It's just,
but I get this weird Mexican, like,
pseudo stash thing.
What is that dirt on your face kind of look, which is odd.
At least it's not a question mark.
That is very true.
I feel bad for our friend.
Yes, we have a friend who grows a
He,
question mark on his face.
he's missing exactly one side of the goatee, and it's just enough that it's definitely a thing.
Yes.
It's yeah,
But I
interesting.
mean, facial hair is cool. I mean, it's
Mhm.
in these days. So
If I didn't have it, I would look like I'm about 12 years old, and nobody wants that. At least of all
no,
myself.
that's true.
Maybe
But
maybe there's some weird ladies out there that like it, me looking like I'm a child, but I don't know if I'd want that.
there is something to keeping it like
Oh well, yeah.
groomed.
When I had like the gigantic beard of doom, that was a little
Yeah, that was a little weird. I
weird.
must admit.
It just the goatee part was like 3 inches long.
Yeah.
It was longer than my hair.
That, well, I mean, that's okay. I mean, there are people who, well, yours wasn't, but there are people who have
Mine was.
longer beards and they have hair on top
Oh
of
yeah,
their head.
mine was not okay. It's
Or
the picture, actually, the one you're thinking of right now that could kind of work is Russell Crowe's new movie coming out soon. Noah.
Noah, where he was in
There's a
biblical times where they didn't
yeah,
have to cut their hair
except
because they
he
didn't.
does have like a buzzed head with a unruly looking beard.
Hey, it's
I
Russell
don't know if
Crowe.
it works or not. I don't know if it works.
Jean Valjean had a buzzed head and an unruly beard.
That's true, but that's Hugh Jackman, and you could put Hugh Jackman. In fact, they did it in the movie into a pile of poop, and he would look good. And they did that in that movie, and he looked stunning still. I mean, I'm straight, but damn.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But he did have the facial hair and no
Yeah,
the
yeah,
crown
the buzzed
dome.
down hair. Yeah, chrome dome. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I think I found a new person that replaces my man crush. No, just kidding.
Okay, so he replaces Russ.
Well, no, it's always the guy that always gets asked the question at the party: if you were gay or if you had to have a man crush, who would it be? And
Neil Patrick
90%,
Harris.
no, and 90% of men's answers for some odd reason is Sean Connery,
Nope.
which is weird because he's old.
Yeah, he is old, but he's got that.
I think people are going for like
Silver
the
Fox.
Doctor No era, the 1960s Sean Connery. I think that's the idea. But
Maybe.
your answer was interesting. I did not expect that, but I should have.
Neil Patrick Harris.
NPH.
He's
I guess he on Twitter, either yesterday or today. I guess he's in Mexico or somewhere. Anyway, but he apparently drank like 20 margaritas or something.
yes.
Got
I was
ridiculously
looking on Facebook and somebody posted a thing about how Neil Patrick Harris thought it'd be a great time on his last day in Mexico to just see how many margaritas he could drink. And he posted pictures
Oh God.
and it was the best thing in the world. So it's got to be Neil Patrick Harris. He just seems like he's a ton of fun. Plus, he likes kids.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. He's got
Plus-
a couple.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he just seems like an all-around good guy. Plus, he's talented
does.
as hell.
Yes.
I mean, there are
True.
plenty of other guys like Hugh Jackman. He's pretty talented and he's probably good with kids. But I don't know.
You're just saying that there's something about the
Neil
NPH that
Patrick Harris.
drives you wild.
Well, that and I'm a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother.
Well, yeah, there is that.
And I like Wolverine and all that stuff, but
How about your mother
I don't
trumps?
know.
Plus, of course, Doogie Howser.
They could if I had to go gay for two guys, I guess.
The apocalypse has come around.
Not
The
that there's
robot
anything
overlords have
wrong
taken
with
over.
When they say you can't just be gay, you have to be double gay, which means you have to be with two guys. Not that there's anything
Yes.
wrong with being gay. I'm not saying there's anything
There
wrong
isn't.
with that.
We have plenty of
But-
friends who love it.
Yes. But I'm saying, like, if I had to choose two guys.
Well, yeah. Anyway, let's awkwardly segue to something else. Drinking.
I
We were talking
would
about
have to be
margaritas.
very drunk. I would have to be
We were
very
talking
drunk.
about margaritas, so yeah. No, what have I been drinking recently?
Yes, what have you been drinking recently?
Well, I had one of my fall go-to ciders, some Angry Orchard earlier today, which is always delicious.
now,
But what was the new one I tried? Where was it?
What kind of Angry Orchard do you go to? Like their standard
Either
or
either
original?
the ginger, apple ginger, or the crisp or the hard, just straight up normal.
Did you try their sin apple one?
I hate cinnamon,
You do?
so I won't even touch it.
Oh, it's so good.
Hate cinnamon.
But
Just why
I
why I
do.
can't do Fireball.
Oh, that's true. But Fireball is really sugary too, so it's kind of
Yeah.
a hit or miss as far as whiskey goes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What was the most recent non like standard beer? Oh, I was in Spokane for a coworker of my sister's birthday. Don't ask me how I got there, but I did. Um, but I had a brown ale from. So I'm checking my app on my Untapped app on my phone. So that's why I'm not looking at people. But it's the Soto Brown Ale from Two Beers Brewing in Seattle. Was actually quite good.
That does sound
Which was
very
nice. Mm-hmm. And the place I was at when I drank that is called Herbal Essence.
good. Herbal essence, like the hair. Like
Well, it's
like
the Herbal Essence Cafe, but on the sign outside the building, it just says Herbal Essence. It doesn't say cafe. So it looks a little weird to walk into. You're like, why am I getting dinner at a shampoo store? But it's not a shampoo store. It's a restaurant.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But
then I only had that one beer, and then I was drinking whiskey gingers all night.
Whiskey
like
gingers.
Whiskey ginger. Great drink. Great drink.
That's whiskey and ginger ale, right?
Yeah, and then I usually throw in some lime, little extra tartness, makes it go good. And the lady who was doing the drinks that night just kept leaving my old lemons in the glass, which I keep saying lemons, old limes in the glass, and I was just like, "Thank you, you're awesome," because that makes it even better.
That does sound really good.
Yeah, if I had whiskey in the house right now, that's what I would be drinking at this moment, but I don't.
I do not have any whiskey either.
I should get some.
I'm not the biggest fan of whiskey, but I don't.
No, you're not.
Are you the biggest fan of whiskey?
Oh, I love whiskey. There was a 2-month period of my life where I wasn't the biggest fan of whiskey because of a particularly intensive toilet hugging session. But about 2 months after that happened, I was back on the train like nothing had changed. So.
And see, I find that to be really interesting. People who drink a lot and then end up regurgitating it. Yes, thank you. And then I know some people who said, yeah, I went on a tequila bender and I threw it up and I'm never gonna drink it again. It's like, okay, but just try it again. It's like, no, it'll remind me of it. Well, I've thrown up my fair share of alcohol and I still drink it. It's like
I've been there.
You just have to try it again, or just give yourself a while without drinking. And I think that's their problem is they keep drinking.
Well, see, and that's what it was for me. Was I gave myself? I mean, in the 2 months that I had sworn off whiskey, I actually was drinking other stuff, and just it wasn't as good. And so I went back to it after 2 months. I was just like, oh no, this is fine. You were just a drunken idiot. He was puking. It had nothing to do with the alcohol, other than it was alcoholic poison that my body was trying to reject. But other than that,
well, in these days, I find myself gravitating towards beer more than I do hard alcohol, just because there's so many more varieties of it. It's way less expensive.
True.
I mean, you can get an IPA from one. I mean, I guess this is true for hard alcohol, but you can get an IPA from one brewery, and it could be totally different than an IPA from another one.
Yeah.
Where like vodkas or whiskeys, you can tell the differences, but
they're a lot more subtle. Yeah. Whiskeys are people say they're subtle, but I don't think they are as subtle as they think. As opposed to like a vodka where I can't tell the difference between one vodka or another.
The only difference I've ever been able to tell between vodkas is like how harsh they are. A really good vodka is a lot more smooth. It's easier to drink than, say Idaho Silver.
The Idaho Silver. Yes.
Or Monarch. I mean, they're not bad vodkas, but they, it's $1 for a gallon, so you get what you pay for.
Monarch.
But you go drink something like Grey Goose, it's not so much like drinking rubbing alcohol.
Paint thinner, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot better. You can tell they took
Ah,
time with it. There's
gotcha.
Crystal Skull vodka, which I've never had because it is super
Hmm.
expensive, and
Ah,
it
Crystal
comes in a
Skull.
bottle that looks like a crystal skull.
Uh,
Well, not like from Indiana Jones, but it looks like a
it's a really
skull.
long head thing.
Yeah, it's just a regular skull.
And then it turns into an alien and makes Kate Blanchett blow up or something like that. I would hope the bottle doesn't do that because
No,
that'd be disturbing.
it's just full of diamond distilled vodka. They like filtered.
Diamond filtered.
They filter it through diamonds.
That sounds a little hyperbolic is the wrong word because that means I don't believe it's true. And I do believe it's true, but it just is a little just too much.
It's probably like
it's too much.
It's probably like diamond cloth. I don't know if that.
Well, it's probably either diamond cloth or it's just a industrial grade diamond, like the stuff they use on saw blades for cutting stone. It's not like gem quality. It's not like they're pouring it through millions upon millions of diamond rings. But
that'd be hilarious. That'd
be an interesting mental image, wouldn't it?
I think of it as just like a handful of diamonds, like you see in those movies where they've stolen a bunch of diamonds. It's just a pile of diamonds, and they're pouring vodka through it.
It's
That'd
not
be
like that at all. No, it's uncut, unpolished diamond. I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of diamonds, but I can't understand how they would filter something through it.
My diamond experience comes from having once had to use a diamond blade saw. So,
right, and I've done that too, but it's not something I've ever filtered anything with.
Yeah, well, and that's probably the kind of diamond they're filtering it through. Is all I'm saying is that industrial crap stuff that you wouldn't even think of putting into jewelry.
That's true. That's true.
That's all.
Speaking of using a diamond blade saw, that's like what kind of job do you have to use that kind of
a mason? That is a real job, isn't it?
No, it is. Yeah, it is a real job. A mason. Do you know anybody who's a mason? I know someone who's a Freemason.
I know a couple people who are. No, it's not the same thing. No, I don't personally know any masons. Anybody who cuts stone for a living. There are actually in Coeur d'Alene, though. It's weird. There's like 1, 2, 3. Like I can think of like 3 different like stone cutters, like masons that do like landscaping stone and stuff, like private businesses.
Right.
So in Coeur d'Alene, it's just like for a town of 35,000 people, that seems like a little bit of overkill.
Just a lot of stone that needs to be cut.
It's a lot of stone that needs to be cut for the area. Apparently, I guess there's a demand for it.
But one guy couldn't fill
the orders. Yeah, I guess not.
But I mean, masons. People don't think of that as as a career. Who decides? Yeah, I really love cutting
and all these shops that are in the Coeur d'Alene area have all been going for like 30 or 40 years. They're family businesses. You graduate from high school or college if you decided to go to college for like, I don't know, maybe geology, and then you pick up the family business of like quarrying and selling and cutting stone.
No, Dad, I don't want to cut stones. I'm tired of quartz.
I want to be an actor.
The one black sheep of the family doesn't like cutting stone.
It's we could make it into like, the scene from Zoolander, right, where he comes back home to his dad and brothers who are
coal miners.
Coal miners. I'm not a coal miner. I'm a professional model.
Merman.
Merman.
I love that movie. I haven't seen that in a while.
I watched it on TV a couple months back, and it was still just as hilarious as always.
Okay, and I'm gonna. This is a side note here.
Okay.
I finally just broke down and got my own Netflix account, which is a big deal. Let me tell you.
$7.99 a month, man.
Hey, it's like 9 something after tax.
Well, if you streaming only, I think it's $9.99. Yeah, which is what I am too. I don't know anymore. I don't even look at my credit card bills.
Yeah, it's.
I just pay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, oh, the bill's here. Okay, I got to go pay my bill. I don't look at whatever it is. I just go and pay it.
Right.
Anyway.
So I just got my own Netflix account, and I thought it would be a good idea if before we did one of these podcasts, we could we could watch a movie
Ooh,
And maybe it's the same movie. Maybe it's different. But we watch a
maybe.
movie. Maybe it's on Netflix. Something we both have
Yeah,
access to that we don't have to
yeah.
pay extra money for.
I would hope so.
And then we could come back here and talk about it. And then
Interesting.
maybe each time we'll say I pick a movie and we both watch it. The
Mhm.
next time you would pick a movie,
Yeah, it's up.
and
Yeah.
then you could surprise me with it or whatever. And before the next time, I'd have to sit down and take the time to watch it. And no matter what it is,
Mhm.
and I mean, it might be fun to use Netflix or,
Oh, yeah.
if I own it, that's one thing. But
Well, yeah.
something that's
plus.
easily accessible,
Yeah.
I think
It
that
can't.
would be fun.
I'll try to avoid the German existential films of the 1930s, mostly because those were Nazi propaganda films.
And I don't know where you would. Are those on Netflix as well?
I think there's some in the Criterion Collection. I'm not sure though.
They're
All
they
of
have
Lenny
the
Riefenstahl's
entire
stuff.
Criterion Collection on Hulu Plus, which I do have access to. I don't pay for it, but yeah, the whole Criterion Collection's on Hulu Plus. Did you not know that?
No,
All of it. I'm pretty sure the whole thing is on.
I don't have to own The Rock anymore. And yes, The Rock is part of the Criterion Collection,
Well, I don't know if that's on
along with Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Not joking. They are both part of the Criterion Collection.
What is the criteria for the Criterion Collection?
I believe that the mission statement is like films of artistic merit. They don't have to be like good movies. Like, Armageddon's not a good movie, but it really influenced cinema because of its editing style and how that kind of rapid cut, hyper energy editing style has become the norm almost.
I think Armageddon's a good movie.
I don't believe you.
Put it out there.
I don't believe you.
You don't
I think
believe
you're
me?
lying.
You don't
I
believe
think
me
you're
that-
lying to yourself.
You don't believe me that I think Armageddon's a good movie?
It's a pretty atrocious film, man. Even you know that.
Granted, I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah. Here's a mind blowing fact. You know who's one of the primary screenwriters on Armageddon?
No.
J.J. Abrams.
Well, J.J. Abrams has been known to do quite a few movies.
Yes, he has.
Not
but
all of them are good.
that was I think that was like his second or third film that he was involved in that got produced. Was Armageddon. The first one was Regarding Henry, the Harrison Ford flick.
Really?
That was his first screenplay that he actually got. He had written it during college, and it got bought. And that's how J.J. Abrams, quote unquote, broke, even though you didn't hear about him for like the next 15 years until he made Alias. Well, Felicity.
Which
He was just bouncing around.
I never watched that show.
Neither did I, but I just know it exists. But yeah, that's what he was known for.
Well, and now he's making Star
Regarding
Wars.
Henry, and now he's making flipping Star Wars.
And Star Trek. Apparently he has to own all the Star movies.
Well, no, he's not. He's probably just going to be producer on Star Trek. He probably won't direct the next one.
Whatever, it'll still have lens flares of the yin yang.
Well, yeah. The thing is, though, he says he actually apologized for the lens flares.
Well, you know that his wife, he'll show the movie to his wife. She'll go to screenings and stuff, and she got on him for putting too many lens flares in it, and it wasn't the final cut, so he cut like a quarter of them out.
Yeah, and it's still too many.
And it's still way too many.
I mean, there's in the second Into Darkness, there's that one, like there's a big dramatic scene with the blonde lady. What's her? I can't remember the character's name or the actress's name.
I haven't seen that.
But she's got this really dramatic scene, and the entire shot that she's giving this like emoted performance, lens flare right here, so it like covers half of her face.
Well,
in the movie,
in that instance, it's probably really perfect. Like just cover up her face.
But she's acting. You want to see her acting, don't you?
Is she really all that good of an actress?
I don't know. I couldn't tell because there was a lens flare.
Exactly. So for all you know, she did a great job behind that lens flare.
I don't know. Anyway, no, he said he's going to definitely tone them down even more for Star Wars because they're not as much part of the grammar of those films. So,
what do you mean, space?
Well, of the Star Wars films.
Most of those lens flares were from space.
George Lucas didn't have a lot of lens flares in his Star Wars movie, and I guess JJ wants to respect that. Okay. I guess.
But I would really hope that he wants to make them his own thing. You know.
Well, and that's the thing that I wouldn't want to be in this position, because do you make them your own thing, or do you try and make a Star Wars movie?
Well, you make them in the vein of Star Wars, so it's got their similarities, but you have to use your own direct. You know, you have to use your own artistic license with some of the material. You can't just pretend to be George Lucas. I mean, because then we'll get
No.
another episode 1 or 2.
Hey, two was the worst. Two was
Two
the
is
worst.
the worst. You're right.
One was meh, two was oh god why, and three was hey, this isn't actually half bad.
Yeah, 3 wasn't.
Three was substantially good, actually.
It was okay. It was
Mostly
the most
because
enjoyable.
it was the most enjoyable, but mostly because I'm guessing since Lucas knew he had to lead it into, the original flicks, that he's like, well, I gotta, like restrain his stupid side, I guess. And I think that's what happened, was that he knew he had to link up to these other films, which were made by a better director, him when he was not 70 or whatever.
Well, he's not just trying to turn American history into movies. That's what the first one was.
Roman history, good sir.
The first one was American history with the British. It was all America versus the British back in, like, as far as the political stuff goes, it's America versus the British. That's all it was. He's like, and then they have arguments.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all like the blockades. You couldn't do any trading through. You couldn't get ships through without somebody checking you because the British were fucking us up.
Huh. I'd never thought about it from that angle.
When I first saw that movie, I had just learned in school about American history. I was like, man, this guy sure knows his history. Except for Anakin Fruity Nuts.
Yeah. Pod racing.
You know that kid was in Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. And he's done like nothing since.
Because Jingle All the Way is quite possibly the best movie he could have ever been in. And it was perfect. He was perfect.
Wasn't he like 6?
I don't care if he was 4. It was perfect.
Nah, but I do find it funny that Jake Lloyd has done like no acting since Phantom Menace.
Well,
I find that hilarious.
You follow up Jingle All the Way with Phantom Menace, nobody's going to want to hire you.
I guess so. Speaking of child actors you didn't see for a while, Haley Joel Osment. I actually saw him in something recently, and time has not been kind to his face.
No, it's like
he ballooned a bit.
It's like his body grew, but his face stayed the same size.
No, it's the other way around, man. He became chubster, dude.
No, I know, but his face his head's huge.
But
his face didn't grow.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Mouth. Yeah. It's like a really tiny. It's like this, but his head's huge.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, okay. I don't remember what it was I saw him in, but it was just like
I saw him recently too. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it was just that was yet another child actor that you don't see doing anything, but now he's popped up and it's scary. It scares me. I have nightmares.
Are you seeing dead people?
No, I'm seeing Haley Joel Osment.
That's much worse.
Yeah, dead people I could deal with. I know some dead people, and they were my friends, and I loved them. I'd like to see them again.
Well, you don't get to choose. It's just people who die in the vicinity.
It's a dream, man. In a dream, in the dreamland, you can make anything up. Inception.
But you have to be in somebody else's dream. You're not the architect.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little larger. And then you produce a grenade launcher instead of a normal machine gun. Sorry, Inception sidetrack.
Oh, anyway, I was going to ask you about that book you were reading by J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I loved it. I mean, both of the stories, because for people that don't know, it's kind of a book with a book. There's a fictional book that it is, which is this rather kind of rote and formulaic and formulaically obtuse book about like a guy who doesn't know who he is, who gets swept up in a bunch of political revolution. Whoopie dee. And that's like that's the fictional novel. But on the margins of that fictional novel are the notes and random scrawling and messages back and forth between two college students. And that's a whole other story level. They're trying to figure out who the author of this fictional book was, because nobody knows who he was really. Like he never showed his face or stuff like that, right? And they're trying to figure that out. And that story is less formulaic. I mean, it still kind of ends in a neatly packaged way, kind of. But what's so just freaking awesome about the book is that it's entirely about a physical book. Like, this book would be useless as an audio. There's no way to do this as an audiobook, which is weird because there's an audiobook version of it.
Well,
And I don't know.
Hear it.
I don't know how you do it, how it works. Because I spent like 20 minutes just sitting and looking at this thing, figuring out how I was going to read it. Because there's a couple of schools of thought on it where you can just read the novel, the like printed stuff, or you can go in and then read the novel while also reading the margin notes at the same time. Some people, like I've got a friend who's reading it, and they say that they're reading just the novel first, and then they're going to go back and read all the notes. It's so weird, and it's also confusing. It starts out confusing, but then it starts kind of, there's a groove kind of kicks in to it, and it makes sense. Like, you learn where to stop to read a margin note and then jump back into the fake book and then all that stuff. But the other cool thing about it is that there's all these like inserts and stuff. Like, there's a part where one of the students talks about these underground steam tunnels on a college campus. And so he had drawn a map for the other person on a napkin. It's in the book on a napkin.
Really? Like, there's a napkin in the book?
Yeah, with the drawing of the college campus on it. Because the two characters were using this book to pass messages and stuff back and forth to each other.
Right. So this, is it like actually hand drawn, or is it like printed on the map?
I'm sure it's printed, but it looks hand drawn, but it's on like a napkin, like napkin paper.
That's cool.
Yeah. And like, there's postcards and newspaper clippings and all this stuff, and they're all in the book.
Yeah. So I saw it at Barnes and Noble.
See, and I picked it up on a whim because it was at Hastings, and it was like, had either just come out or was on a bestseller list or something. So they had a discount on it. Mm-hmm. So instead of paying like the $35 or whatever for it, I got it for like $26 or something like that. Yeah, I've actually got it right here. Hold on a second. Right here. It comes in a slipcase.
It was wrapped in plastic when I saw it.
Well, this is the slipcase it comes in. This is the book itself. See, the fictional book is called Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka. That guy has never existed in the real world. But in this book world, nobody knows who he was. He was a person, but he never showed his face to anybody, did all of his stuff by like letters and whatnot. But yeah, there's inserts like this postcard from Brazil with a note on the back. And then there's also like, here's an example page from the book. Printed text, margin notes, in different colors of ink and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's why I love it. I mean, like, all the stuff about the story itself is kind of, like I said, it's kind of formulaic, but just the thought process behind it and how they built it, like the book itself actually has like a library code on the binding, and you look at the back and it's got like stamps for when it's been checked out and stuff like that. It's, just all this little detail. It's a celebration of the physical book, and it's so cool. Now I got to carefully put it back. So hold on a second here. Otherwise, all the parts fall out, and I don't want that to happen.
Nobody wants that to happen. But it's cool that
it's a really awesome book.
Immersive kind of like
yeah
about the book.
Yeah. Like, they're like, the only thing that says it's by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst, the actual like writing, J.J. Abrams just kind of came up with the idea. Once you take it out of that slipcover, there is nothing in the book that references those two people.
That's really cool.
Not even like copyright notices. Like, there's no, like, normally you open up a page and there's a copyright page where it says, Stephen King's The Stand, copyright 1972, blah, 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 right?
Right.
That's not in the book.
Well,
I mean, that's how far they go.
So the book is literally the other book
Yeah.
in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's just like that. It's so cool. Which is why like it comes in a slipcase because all the copyright information. Yeah, it's also available in audio and ebook editions, and I don't get how. I don't understand it.
Well, I can understand an ebook because you could kind of do the same thing, and then if it were a postcard or a napkin, it wouldn't be as immersive, but you
Yeah,
could just do pictures or.
yeah. But I don't get how audiobook works. Like, how do you like you saw like the pages with the margins? How do you read that as audio?
Do you have to do like separate audio tracks? One is the
I,
middle
I,
book, one's the
I
other
guess
thing.
I looked at Amazon and the audio because normally audiobooks come on just like on CDs or as MP3s, right?
Right.
But I guess this comes as like an entire audio player, like its own MP3 player or something.
Well, then I'm sure they figured out a good way to do
Oh,
that.
I would imagine so, but it's still just kind of mind blowing how it would work. Anyway, I love this book. I'm on Goodreads and I rated it 5 stars just because it's just so inventive and crazy and different in that way, even though that the plots inside are kind of average and middling.
Right.
But it's the just the whole execution of it is just so freaking awesome.
Now, I know you read a lot of books last year.
I set a goal to read 25 new books last year, and I think I read 21, I think. Goodreads, my friends. It's awesome.
If you had to pick one book
One book that was favorite?
of last year, that you read last year.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing. It would not be Stranger in a Strange Land.
Nobody in the history of anybody ever has called that their favorite book.
Except for people who have, and they're idiots.
No, they were shrunken and disappeared. No, they didn't disappear. They were just shrunken, very tiny, so nobody could see them.
I think I would put this one as either number 1 or 2. I'm not sure. I actually picked up a book when I was in London called The Universe versus Alex Woods, which was really kind of entertaining from the point of view of a kid who gets hit in the head by a meteor and it gives him seizures, and he's dealing with life, and he helps a person die, like just an old person just dying of a disease and wants to die. He helps this person do that. It's an interesting book. It was, it's very British, but that was an interesting book that I picked up on a whim when I was in London. It's a signed first edition, so that's cool, I guess. But it wasn't expensive because there was like a million of them, I guess.
When did that book come out?
About the same time I was in London, I think like January or February of 2013, and I got it in March.
So it's not super old.
No, it's not old at all, which is why it wasn't expensive.
Or real easy to get a.
And the guy isn't a prolific. The guy isn't a prolific author at all, because I think this is like his second book. I think this is like his second or third book. Go find me a signed first edition copy of Stephen King's Carrie. Then we're talking expensive.
Oh, I bet.
Or like actually at that same bookshop where I bought this one, there was a copy of Paul Taylor's favorite book, Watership Down. That was a signed first edition, and it was going for £1,500. Which was about $2,700 at the time.
That's
I think
pretty
Paul,
good book.
I think Paul was kind of tempted for me to pick it up for him, like he was going to wire me, but no, I don't know if he got that far. But like I let him know about it, he was like, "No, I can't do that."
That is a lot of money.
But I bet you the thought crossed his mind for a second.
Very
Watership Down is actually quite an awesome book. I didn't read that last year, though. I read that in 2012.
I read that in.
Yeah, I think my top 2 books of last year would be Abrams' Doug Dorst S and Universe versus Alex Woods, which I didn't like as much at first, but I think about it more, and I'm like, this was a really good book, actually. And most of the books I read this year were pretty good. There's some exceptions, but
what would you say besides Stranger in a Strange Land
is an absolutely atrocious book?
The worst read from last year.
Like, from last year, I'm like ever, because I've got a couple lists on that list, but
yeah, there's
from last year.
Because you said you liked so many of them, but there were a few that just weren't.
Rum Diary wasn't very good. I did not like Rum Diary.
No, it's just kind of slow.
Yeah. There was another one that I'm totally blanking on. Probably for good reason. Well, I never finished Brothers K. So I don't know if I would have liked that or not.
I started that book.
Yeah, I got 3% into it. We were reading that book right while I was in the middle of that opera.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And so I was like, knuckle down, focused on singing 20 minutes of Italian for 2 different shows.
Yeah.
So that was slightly more important.
The parts that I read were good.
Okay. Cool. There were some good books last year that I read. So we'll see what this year brings. I haven't set any reading goals for this year.
I haven't either because I tried to set a goal last year and it didn't happen.
How high a goal did you set?
I think it was 15 books. I didn't read 15 books. I read maybe...
You probably would have gotten close just with the book club, though.
Yeah, but then I didn't read all of Brothers K, so I can't count that. I didn't read...
I didn't read all of C.
Oh, I didn't read C, period. Everybody said how awful it was, so I was just like, I'm not going to put my time to it.
Freaking Avery. Dante Club wasn't as good as I expected it to be.
It wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible, but it was just middling.
Right.
Like, it was like... Well, and it was interesting up until the point where he does this is why the bad guy is the bad guy chapter.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, no! Yeah. If you can't understand why the bad guy is the bad guy before then, you failed writing the part of the book that you've already written.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Which is why Agatha Christie is such a better murder mystery novelist than this guy was.
That's very true.
Because she didn't have to do that.
Well, because she knew how to write books.
Yeah, there's that. So did you have any favorites or least favorites of the year?
Most of the books that I read were for book club.
Yeah.
So I had a couple favorites. Okay, because I read just about everyone except for the couple that I said I didn't.
Oh yeah.
So I think I would probably say, I don't know, I liked a lot of the books we read. I would probably say, okay, well, I'm going to pick the two. Wow.
That you picked?
I was not going to pick the two I picked. I'm going to pick The Road. I really liked The Road. I really liked how different it is.
Uh-huh.
And the weird non-use of punctuation.
Yeah.
And then I really liked The Book Thief.
Book Thief was good, which is why I don't want to see the movie.
Why?
Even though
I've heard the movie's really good.
Well, I hear it's got like a really stunningly awesome John Williams score, but that's beside the point. I liked the book enough that it's just I know it's not going to be a good enough adaptation because that never happens.
Well, and who's the guy that plays the dad in that one?
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush. Even with that, you don't want to see it?
Nah, I'll wait for video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go to the theater and see it.
Yeah.
But I have to see it eventually. Just like I had to see The Road, and that was awful. That movie was not... It's just... Okay, what... The story in The Road is really good. It's not... But it's not the story that makes the book. It's the way he wrote it. It's the things, and they leave a crap load out.
What's interesting is, I guess, Cormac McCarthy kind of writes like that a lot anyway. Like, it wasn't specific to The Road.
Right. Because he wrote No Country for Old Men, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was a good movie, so I'm going to imagine the book's okay.
Yeah, but I guess he does that. I mean, I don't think it's to the extreme that The Road was, the lack of punctuation and proper nouns and all that stuff. But I guess No Country for Old Men and all of his other books are very similar, stylistically speaking. I
would hope so. I mean, you've got to have a certain style as an author that you keep to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Stephen King. I don't know why we go back to Stephen King, but everyone
knows because he does a lot of good third person. It's not third person omniscient. It's like third person limited. Right. That he's really good at writing that way. But every once in a while, he can slip into like a second person thing pretty well too.
Right.
It's interesting. Yes, Stephen King doesn't do a lot of first-person writing. It's very interesting.
Which is good, though. I mean,
First-person writing is tough to pull off.
Right, but it's nice to. There's so many authors that do, or at least try to, that it's nice to see an author who breaks from.
It's just like, nope. Like Michael Crichton wrote a book in first person, and it wasn't that great.
I've never read a Michael Crichton book, although I should read Jurassic Park. I suppose.
Sorry, that's the best I can do for a mic drop.
Yeah, I've never read Michael Crichton.
Oh, man. Jurassic Park, Sphere. The movie was atrocious. Sphere
I have read Sphere.
Stunning.
I totally forgot that was Michael Crichton. I have read Sphere.
Congo is a much better book than movie. So I'm looking at my bookshelf where I've got all the Michael Crichton.
Sure.
And actually, another one that they were going to make into a movie and never did is Airframe, which is actually really awesome. I loved it.
That's awesome.
In fact, I think you should read that one before you read Jurassic Park.
Okay, well, I got to finish Under the Dome first.
Well, yeah. Okay, so finish Under the Dome, and then go to your local library and check out Airframe by Michael Crichton.
Airframe by Michael Crichton.
Yes, I'm plugging it because it was an awesome book. I've read it like 17 times.
In case you didn't get that, it was Airframe by Michael Crichton.
I can get the ISBN number if people are interested. It's right over there. Right over there.
If we ever post this on YouTube, I'll put it down in the links.
Yay! Along with every other thing that we've name dropped, like my cell phone and this other book and movies and video games.
Yes. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. And we'll kind of use this as a segue to end the thing.
Okay.
But then I have a question for you after we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take all of this stuff that we've talked about, all the information, and if we can find like reputable sources and things, we'll at least
like
link it to something
like my
cool.
Nintendo story.
Yes, we'll find somebody who wrote about that, and under this video, because we're going to do videos, and hopefully, I think what would be easiest right now is to do this for the video.
Oh yeah,
and then try to figure out how to do that audio stuff. But we'll put it down in the links below under a thing called links. Look for the word links. And there'll be a list of links and descriptions.
What?
I mean, I could just put a bunch of buttons on the screen too if people are too lazy.
That's annoying. That's annoying.
But I'll just put all the links below, and you can go find those things. It'd be awesome. Okay, so if you did manage to get through all of this, you just watched the very first Unlisted podcast.
Yeah.
It's called Unlisted. Maybe I'll get you a graphic. Maybe just tell you what it is. You don't need a graphic. Screw that crap.
Yeah. You've got a brain. Use it.
Yeah, definitely. So that is that. So enjoy it. We'll post more stuff. We'll do it. We'll try to be semi-consistent so you can enjoy all kinds of stuff. Yep. And
possibly guest stars.
Who knows? Maybe we'll try to figure out how to do. Oh, we could probably totally do a live Google Plus Hangout sometime on the channel because I don't have to record it. I mean, we could just make Google record it for us because that's what they do. It's awesome.
Yep.
So
technology,
cool. Thanks for watching this. Have a wonderful life,
and we'll see you sometime soon.
Bye.